Hey everyone, welcome to US Daily Beat. It's Thursday, August 20th, 2026, and I'm so glad you're here. We've got some really interesting stories for you today. Russia purposefully hit critical infrastructure in latest strikes. Kyiv mayor. Trump vows tougher economic measures on Iran and supporting countries. Travelodge boss resigns as chain tackles security after sex assault at hotel. But real quick before we dive in, if you'd like to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe and give this video a like. It genuinely means the world to us, and it's what keeps this show going every single day. All right, with that said, let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with world news. Overnight, Kyiv was hit by what city officials are calling a massive Russian attack, and the toll is grim. At least 17 people were killed, according to the latest reports. And Kyiv's mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, says the strikes appeared to be aimed deliberately at critical infrastructure. He also warned that hot water service has been disrupted, which is a reminder that these attacks are about more than explosions on a map. They ripple into everyday life almost immediately. If you've been following this war, you know this kind of assault fits a pattern we've seen before. Pressure on Ukraine's energy and utility systems, especially as colder weather becomes a bigger factor. When infrastructure is targeted, it's not just about damage in the moment. It can mean power outages, heating problems, and real strain for families trying to get through the day. And that's why this matters beyond Kyiv. Each major strike tests Ukraine's ability to keep essential services running, and it also signals how the conflict is evolving. What we'll be watching next is how Ukraine responds, whether repairs can happen quickly, and whether there's any international reaction to the scale of this attack. Okay, moving on to world news. The situation around Iran is getting more tense by the day. After a 60-day ceasefire expired on Monday, there still doesn't seem to be a clear way out, either through diplomacy or through force, and that uncertainty is what's making this so important to watch. President Trump says he wants to hit Iran with tougher economic measures, and not just Iran itself, but also countries that continue supporting it. In plain English, that means more pressure through sanctions and trade restrictions, the kind of moves meant to make it harder for Iran to keep funding and sustaining its position. The idea is to squeeze the economy hard enough to force a change in behavior, but those steps can also raise the risk of broader fallout, especially if other countries get caught in the middle. What we're looking at now is a standoff with very few good options. The ceasefire running out without a follow-up agreement leaves everyone in a more dangerous spot, because when there's no diplomatic off-ramp, tensions can escalate fast. So for you and me, the big thing to watch next is whether these economic threats lead to a real negotiating push, or whether this just deepens the confrontation. Next up, we've got a story from business and finance. There's a leadership shakeup at Travelodge, and it comes at a pretty sensitive moment for the budget hotel chain. The company says its boss, Joe Boydell, has resigned after facing criticism over how Travelodge handled safety and security concerns, including the fallout from a sexual assault at one of its hotels. What makes this story matter is that it's not just about one executive leaving, it's about the